Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, I did some browsing on the internet and I think I came across something pretty interesting, so let's check it out. So I was kind of browsing Waterbox and I noticed they had a 10% off sale on their aquariums, certain ones, of course. And it was just, kind of out of the blue because they normally don't have 10% around this time. So I was just like, okay, well, let's see if they have, the tank that I was interested in, which was the Reef LX tank. And when you click on the Reef LX tank here, you notice that there's only one. Like they actually had a huge line of Reef LX right here, right? So there's like four different ones, and the one that I was interested in was the largest one, which is I think it's like the 320.7, so 320 gallons. I was just kind of curious. I know that potentially probably won't be getting it this year, just because a lot of that funds did go towards the solar panels and the batteries that I'm getting soon here. Just kind of back up, the house, and I think that's way more important, especially with the current fish stock that I have, and with just random rolling blackouts that we have here. That I think that's way better of investment than just buying a new tank, obviously. But kind of going back to this point here, uh, all their Reef LX like system is gone. I was just like, well, that's kind of weird. It's like maybe there's some issues with the system, and that they had to discontinue certain ones, and maybe they're fixing it. And then so I was just like, okay, well, let me just check out the next one, like the Reef, for example, right? So like the whole Reef line here is also um, in stock, but the thing is like they're all discounted. Like everything's discounted. Normally, when you have a sale or a discount, it's like certain models and certain lines. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. Let me check this one because this is their newest line, and um, it's all like in restocking soon. So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Just kind of clicking around here. I was just looking down here, and I was just trying to see, what's going on because like really like everything's out of stock or certain ones are only in stock, right? So even like their freshwater tanks, like everything's on sale. Like that generally doesn't happen. So I was just like, okay, that's kind of odd. But the one thing that really kind of just stood out was like the reef side. It's just a lot of stuff that it's just discounted or it's just like, hey, come back, check on later. And I was like, okay, well, maybe there's something wrong with this tank, because I know going to Red Sea Reefer is kind of the competitor. They launched their new, I guess, Gen 2. That's what G2 is, I guess, Gen 2 series. And they're kind of rolling this out for all their models. Slight upgrades, better improvement, and hopefully, they fix the leak on the seams that they've been having. Or I'm on like a forum and I've seen a lot of like Reddit and YouTube channels as well that they have issues with this, I guess, this frame in the front. I mean the glass in the front here, it just leaks. It just tends to leak. So if you there's a gap between here, where I guess you can put the tank on, and it's supposed to sit like that apparently, but it leaks in that area. The seams, whatever, it breaks in this area here. And I've noticed like a lot of the forums on Facebook, especially on if you go onto the group, the main group, you know what it is. You'll see like every month or so, you'll have somebody come up and say like, "Oh, my seam is leaking. What do I do?" And you'll see a bunch of comments, and then like the mods or whatever will just literally block all the comments and say contact the support team. Yeah, I mean obviously, but the thing is like I've been seeing it like constantly every month. Like this person's like, oh my reef, Red Sea reef like tank blah 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 like leak. I was like, that's kind of odd, right? Like that many like failed tanks. Um, and so this is one of the reasons why I think they switch to a new generation. And even like, for example, like I was looking at some of their bigger models here. Um, this one, for example, here, this if I were to go, Red Sea Reefer, their newest model, I was looking again like that 900. But I would probably go with this one, the S1000. And the Gen 2 isn't out yet, but it's coming out soon. Just because this one has the aluminum frames, similar to Waterbox. So I think that Red Sea Reefer noticed that they had their competitors was having like aluminum frames, and so they went with an aluminum frame build with this one. Again, I think that Waterbox is doing a massive just upgrade on their tanks. Maybe add additional things. Maybe switch out certain things, tweak things here and there. Maybe possibly like be able to lower the price if they do certain materials slightly different, or even just upping their game and just trying to compete with Red Sea Reefer, because right now Red Sea Reefer has this new lineup with the S series, and everybody is like, oh, I want this one. And with this layout, I think the sump is slightly different, where it's like larger, like more of like a cube, versus being it long, like more width wise, so that you can have like this roller mat on here. This is a new thing. People are getting this now in reefing, and so these model tanks here are able to take those roller mats, and I think that Waterbox is trying to compete with that, and I think they're if they are rolling out their new models, for that's my guess, that they'll have some sort of roller mat in here as well. Also, I was kind of looking at other tanks because my entrance into my office, it's like kind of like an L shape, so you can't like just pick like a 7 foot long tank and just go straight in. Like it has to go on an angle, and the hallway width, I think it's good enough to clear it, but the doors in here, that it's a double swinging door, right? You would have to remove the doors to kind of slide it in on an angle, and then I would have to remove this whole desktop setup here to get 7 foot of the tank in, turn it, and then be able to put it on the wall here in the back. And I was thinking about, like, is it even possible with the 7 foot tank if I went with the water box, or should I consider looking at 6 foot tanks? So that's why I was kind of in here as well, just to kind of see what tanks they have. But the one thing that really was interesting was the frag tank. I love the dimensions of the frag tank. On this, it's a 6 foot tank, and look at this. It's on sale too. Like, it's well within budget. But the one thing I didn't like about this is it doesn't have the aluminum frames. It's just your traditional, whatever, I guess, wood. Compressed wood that they have here that holds the tank. I think it's fine. It's a 6 foot tank. It's more of like a frag tank, obviously, but 16 foot high. I think 24. Let me double check here. Yeah, 16 foot high. It doesn't show you if it's how high it goes. But I'm thinking it's like 24 on the width side, and it doesn't show you, which kind of sucks. But I'm guessing it's like probably 24, 16, and 6 foot. So, but yeah, so by just looking at this website in the way that just bare bone, like a lot of stuff are just missing in here and whatnot, I think that they're going to be releasing some new models in the next couple months here. So I'm going to keep my eye out and see what they're going to do with some of these new gen, and maybe they even make a bigger tank, which would be awesome. But I don't think it's going to fit through the double doors that I have here. So I might have to end up going with a 6 foot tank. We'll see. Hopefully I can get the 7 foot tank. That'd be nice, just because the wall in the back here is like 10 foot across, 7 foot. You kind of have like a 1.5 feet on both sides to play with. 6 foot is fine too, but I just want the extra foot so that the fish can kind of swim a little bit, further. This is kind of like some signs here that that kind of are just like, for me, it's just like, what? So if you scroll down, right, you keep scrolling down, you keep scrolling down, you keep scrolling down, like it even says here, 240 to 340 gallons. And they only have this one model. And if you look here, all their other tanks here, right, it doesn't start with that, right? It's just like, what? Like, I think they're I think they're going to put a new model in here. It's going to be slightly bigger. It might be even 8 foot tank. That might be the case. They might have this here, and they might have another section here for an 8 foot tank, which is basically another 20 gallons. So yeah, I'm thinking that they're going to put new models, and I think it's going to be some upgrades. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Leave it in the comments below. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. And like always, guys, peace.